Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I have a doubt in that assignment you have sent yesterday.
Okay.
Me and Leora have already submitted assignment by sharing the screen. So do we have to do the assignment?
And did not get you, ma.
Sir, back to some classes. Me and Leora completed one assignment by sharing the screen.
Yeah, you need to submit another 19 assignments.
Sorry, 19?
19, 1 9. Total 20, everyone has to submit. Each carries point, how many marks? Point 0.5 marks, okay? Although you submitted one, no. So for you, both of you, 19 is remaining, 1 9. Okay? Now, now remember, if you fail to submit any one assignment out of 20 assignments, each assignment consists of 2 problems or 2 theory, whatever it may be. Okay? So each unit, we have at least 4 assignments here. 5 units into 420. Now it is for your practice sake, if you your well-being sake, so that we'll get more marks. So just we'll find out, discuss about how to compute steps, a procedure to compute income from business and profession. First, we'll take out how to compute income from profession. Income from business. We'll take the income from business later on. Now, to compute income from business, in the problem, he may be giving profit and loss statement, account statement here, P&L account statement here. Step one, take the net profit and loss account. Either take the net profit and net loss, whatever is given. First, we take the net profit account. Okay, net profit given in the profit and loss account. Or net loss, whatever it may be. This step one. Now, step two, add the following to net profit or net loss. Add the following to net profit. If you're taking net profit, add the following to net profit here. Now, what had to be added? You have to add those expenses debited in profit and loss account, but they are inadmissible. That means those expenses are not related to the business. They are not related to the business. In other words, those expenses which cannot be considered as business expenses, or those expenses which cannot be permitted to allow deduction, those expenses which cannot be admitted, or we can say no admission in the hospital or no admission in the income from business. So no admission, no admission expenses. Okay, add all the no admission expenses to your net profit. Okay, what are those expenses? Example, provision for doubtful debts, income tax paid. These are anticipated loss, that is provision for doubtful debts, not the actual loss. Income tax paid is personal expenses. So those you cannot admit it. So you have to say not no admission, not to be admitted. Those are not called as business expenses. They are called non-business expenses. You should add those expenses. Similarly, expenses not related to the business, that means not concerned with the business, and expenses related to other heads of income. That means there may be some expenses which are related to the income from salary head, or income from house property head, or income from other sources head, or income from capital gain head. You should not take those expenses. And but not related to the business income are disallowed. That means those expenses, not only other head expenses, but not related to the business income are disallowed. That means you cannot allow that. Anything is disallowed, you should add back. Now, any personal expenses paid from the business, that is also disallowed. Okay, that is should be add back to the net profit. Now, all the capital expenses incurred. What are capital expenses? Those expenses which are incurred only once in a while, not every time. purchase of machine, purchase of building, purchase of land. These expenses are called capital expenses that cannot be allowed since it is a capital expenditure. Only if we allow revenue expenses, which is recurring. Capital expenses non-recurring, once in a lifetime, once in a while, once in a year. Next, all charities pay donations given without any approval. Okay, so there are some donations, some charities without approved. You're paying donation to an institution or organization that is not approved by the government. Okay, so that you have to add it to the net profit. That is disallowed. Similarly, capital losses like loss of sale of building or machinery. Any loss, capital losses, non-recurring losses, any loss made on sale of any fixed assets, that also to be added back. Next, excess depreciation charged to P&L account than the permissible limit. Suppose depreciation as per the income tax rules is, let us say, some value 20,000. Okay, available depreciation can be charged on the particular fixed assets 20,000, but you charge 30,000. The excess amount should be added back. Excess 10,000 should be added back. Next, fines and penalties paid. These are not in, these are expenses which cannot be admitted, which are inadmissible expenses. Gifts as penalties paid. Okay, whenever you're giving gift in personal capacity and you're paying penalty, that is not allowed. And gifts and presentations given in personal capacity also not to be admitted. Not to be admitted means you should add back to net profit. In other words, doesn't mean that you should not take it or you should deduct it. No, you should add back. Inadmissible. Those expenses which cannot be allowed, you have to add back. Next, and this is very important. Any expenditure which is not incurred in accordance with the provision of Income Tax Act. Suppose you're paying for revenue expenses more than 10,000 rupees or 35,000 rupees in cash. You have to, that whole expenses is disallowed. It may be revenue expenses, but the rule says when you're paying revenue expenses, general revenue expenses exceeding 10,000, you have to pay by account pay checks or demand drafts. You should not pay by cash. Below 10,000, you can pay in cash. Similarly, when you're paying for transport charges, carriage inward or carriage outward, freight inward or freight outward, limit is 35,000. If you cross this for 35,000, you have to pay by account pay checks and demand drafts only. If you pay in cash about 10,000 or about 35,000, as the case may be, complete value will be disallowed. Complete value should be added back to net profit. Okay. So again, repeating once again, any revenue expenses paid for purchase of goods exceeding 10,000, you have to pay by demand draft or account pay checks only. Less than 10,000, you can pay in cash. More than 10,000, if paid in cash, complete expenditure is disallowed. Similarly, if you pay expenses in cash above 35,000 for transport charges means carriage inward, outward, freight inward, outward. Above 35,000, you have to pay by check only, account pay check only. Below 35,000, you can pay in cash. If you pay about 10,000 or 35,000 in cash, the entire expenditure is disallowed. That means you're violating the provision of Income Tax Act. Similarly, notional expenses like proprietor's salary or commission, whenever a owner is taking his own salary or owner is taking his own commission, that is called notional expenses. That is also disallowed. That is not called business expenditure. Okay, these are step 2. Okay, step 2 means those expenses which are disallowed, which are inadmissible, which cannot be admitted. Okay, so step 3. Step 3 is deduct expenses which are related to the business but not debited in the P&L account but allowable expenses. So there are some expenses, what happens is that in the P&L account, it is not shown on the debit side. Okay, if it is not shown but it is allowed as business expenditure, that you have to deduct. Step 3. Okay, first is net profit, add disallowed expenses. Step 3, add those expenses which are allowed, which are business concerned expenses. Okay. Step 3. What are those? Let us say. For example, you're paying salaries to the employee, but that is not shown in the P&L account, debit side. That is shown in adjustment. So that you have to deduct that expenses. Okay. Similarly, any expenses paid in cash below 10,000 or below 35,000, whatever the case may be, that is not shown in the P&L account, but shown in adjustment, that you have to deduct. This is step 3. Now, step 4 deducts incomes which are to be computed under the other heads of income, but created in the P&L account. Example, rent from house property, capital gain. There are some income which doesn't come under this head. What is this head? Business head. It comes in other heads. For example, if in a P&L account, in credit side, you may see rent from house property. That is not a business income. So you have to deduct those incomes, like income from capital gain. That is not a business income. If it is there in the P&L account on the credit side, that you have to deduct. This is step 4. That means step 4 means deduct those incomes which are computed under the other heads of income. And if it is other heads of income, we cannot take under this head, under business head. You have to deduct step 4, you have to minus it, deduct it. Step 5. Deduct the items which cannot be treated as an income, like income tax, refund, bad debts recovered. So there are some transactions like income tax refund and bad debts recovered. Those cannot be treated as business income. So you have to deduct those items. Like income tax refund, personal, bad debts recovered. Those cannot be considered as income of the business. You have to deduct those items. Step 5. Now step 6. Add incomes related to the business, but not created in the P&L account, like sale of scrap or sale of empty bags and containers. There are some incomes which are not shown on the P&L account credit side, shown in adjustments, like sale of scrap or sale of empty bags and containers. Those has to be added back. Step 6. This is step 6. Okay. So step 6 is you have to add those income which are business related income but not shown on the credit side of P&L account. Now step 7. Whatever the figure you will get is income from business. Whatever the value you get is income from business. Suppose, note, if net loss is given in the problem, then add items shown in the above are to be deducted and less items are to be added. Suppose if there is a net loss, reverse it will happen. Net profit, you will add those expenses which are disallowed. If it's a net loss, you have to subtract it. And if there are any less items in the net profit, you have to again add it. Reverse of this. Okay. Now, again, repeating once again, this is how to calculate, how to compute income from business. The step 1, if net profit is given, you have to add the following expenses which are inadmissible. Okay. Or those expenses which cannot be given as business expenses, which cannot be called as business expenses. Okay, so this is step 2. These are expenses which are not come under business expenses. You should add back. Suppose you are getting a net loss, add becomes minus, add becomes addition becomes subtraction. You have to subtract if net loss is given. Same, no change. So to subtract those expenses which are debited, which are not admissible or which are inadmissible. If net loss is given, net profit is given, it will add those expenses which are inadmissible. Now, step 3. What is step 3? Now, step 3, step 4. Okay. What is step 3? Step 3. Now, here, in case of net profit, you have to deduct. But in case of net loss, you have to add these expenses. If in case of net loss. Okay. In case of net profit, you have to step 3, deduct those expenses which are concerned with the business, but they are not debited in the P&L account, but it is allowable expenses. Now, step 4, deduct those incomes which are to be computed under other heads of income. If it is a net loss is given, deduct becomes add, minus becomes plus. Step 5, deduct the items which cannot be treated as income tax, like income tax, refund, bad debts recovery. Again, if it's a net loss given, deduct becomes add. In step 6, add incomes. If it is an add, if it is net profit is given, add it. If net loss is given, you have to subtract it. Step 6. The figure you will get is income from business. Or if you're getting negative value, you will get loss from business. You're getting negative value, you get a loss from business. In positive value, you get income from business. Okay. These are the procedure to compute income from business if profit and loss account is given. If P&L account is given in the problem. Okay. If net profit is given, you have to follow this procedure. If net loss is given, whatever the add items are there, you have to subtract it. Whatever subtract items are there, you have to add it. The final value get income business or loss from business. Either make it income or loss. So I have to make a changes here in the PPT. Now, suppose in terms, now there are some business like some profession, the doctor or any profession or lawyer profession, they'll not maintain P&L account. They'll maintain receipts and payments account. Okay. On the basis of cash system of accounting. A P&L account is maintained on mercantile system of accounting. And receipts and payments maintained cash system of accounting. Now, receipts and payments account is a summary of cash transactions pertaining relating to a period, normally for an accounting year. On debit side, both revenue and capital receipts are recorded. You should know what is revenue receipt, what is capital receipt. We'll discuss later on slowly. On the payment side, capital expenses and revenue expenses are recorded on the payment side. This is a receipts and payments account. For lawyer, any profession, for doctor or lawyer, especially, they will prepare, they'll prepare the transactions, they record the entries in the books of receipts and payments. They'll not prepare P&L account. For professions, any profession. Now, this is the steps procedure to compute income from profession. This is income from profession. Okay, this is if income. So, how do you classify? Suppose in a problem, if receipts and payments is given, that means you have to calculate income from profession. Suppose if P&L account is given, you have to calculate income from business. It is by default. This is by default. Okay. Now, how to find out income from profession? Step 1. Take all the revenue receipts. Now you should know what is revenue receipts, where you will get every time. Regular income is called revenue receipts. Relating the business and only, okay? We take only revenue receipts only. Capital receipts, incomes relating to other heads and personal incomes are to be ignored. That means, step what you have to do, you should take all those receipts which are revenue in nature and you should ignore capital receipts. What are capital receipts? You will not get every time. Non-recurring income is capital receipt. Recurring income is the revenue receipts. We discuss later on what is revenue, what is capital. Further slides here. Okay. And those income which still belongs to other heads and personal incomes are to be ignored. I'm saying ignored. Don't take that. Take only revenue receipts relating to business. Only take those values only. This is step 1. Step 2. Take the total of all revenue receipts. Here you take a total of all the revenue receipts. Step 3. Deduct the revenue payments. You know what is revenue payments? Where you have to recurring expenditure. Recurring. Every time you have to pay. And capital expenses, personal expenses are not to be deducted. You should ignore capital expenditure and personal expenditure are to be ignored. Only take the revenue expenses. So again, step 4. Deduct any depreciation allowed as per income tax rules. Again, step 4, you can depreciation, income tax authority will calculate it and they will say for this asset, this property, depreciation rate is this much, amount is this much. Okay, you have to deduct those amount only. Okay, and note if the total receipts exceeds the above deduction, then the difference is known as income from profession, or else it is called loss from profession. If the total receipts is more than total deductions, this is known income from profession, or the reverse case will be the loss from professions. Similarly, if deductions are more than the receipts, then it means loss. So you get a loss from profession. So we discussed today, as of now, how to compute income from business or loss from business. Second, how to compute income from profession or loss from profession. Now we'll discuss the theory part about capital receipt and revenue receipts. It is clearly, I have prepared the theory part in a form of slide. What is capital receipt? If the receipts are casual or non-recurring and which may or may not be taxable is called capital receipts. Okay, that means once in a while you will get the income, not every time, not every month, not every day, non-recurring. Once in a while you will get the income, capital receipt. What is revenue receipts? If it is regular, routine income or recurring one, it is known as the revenue receipts. Okay, it is taxable. All revenue receipts are taxable. It is taxable, but all capital receipts, some may be taxable, some may not be taxable. Depends on the transactions. Examples. What are examples to take? Capital assets example, sale process of capital assets like land, building, plant and machinery. When you're selling any fixed assets, the amount you get, that is called the capital receipt. Okay. Similarly, in case of revenue receipt, example, higher charges of capital assets. Suppose you are given your property fixed assets on rental basis to others. Whatever getting a rental charges, higher charge and rental charges is called revenue receipt. Okay, next, in case of capital receipt, compensation received from one of the partner from other partner for giving away all his rights in the partnership scheme is called a capital receipt. Suppose I'm a partner of your firm, you become 2 and 2B. Okay, now I want to come out of the your firm. I'm giving all my rights to your partnership firm. You will get some amount. So that is called capital receipt. Okay. Next, compensation received for premature termination of the contract is called revenue receipt. Suppose contract has been terminated before performing the contract. Initially, they had terminated the contract. For termination, the other party has to pay you the amount. That amount is called the revenue receipt. Okay. Before performing contract, the other party says, I want to terminate the contract. But there is a preparing agreement. In the agreement, they say that if contract is terminated by other party, the other party has to pay the compensation. So that compensation comes under revenue receipts. Next, compensation received for loss of right to future remuneration is called the capital receipt. Suppose I received a compensation. For what purpose? I forego. That means I'm losing the right to future remunerations. And I'm not going to receive future remunerations. For that, I'm getting compensation. That is called the capital receipt. For revenue receipt example, consideration received in lump sum for future reduction is called the capital receipt. There are some more examples here. Uh, if the income is received as expected, like bank interest, income from salary, is called the regular income. Now go for regular income. What is the regular income? What is the casual income? If it, like example, you are receiving bank interest, expected is called regular income, or income from salary is called regular income. In casual income, the income may be casual to the excessive. That means in case of casual income, there may be some chance of element. There is a luck. There is element of luck. There is no element of hard work, like winning from lottery and cross. This is called the casual income. Okay, that is called the casual income. But regular income, there is element of hard work. There is no element of chance. There is no element of luck. So in case of the regular income, the receiver is having the guarantee, certainty of receiving his income. But in case of casual income, it is uncertain. Okay, we are not sure that we will going to receive that income. We are unsure. So we do not know when you are going to receive. Suppose we purchase a lottery ticket, we are not sure whether we win the prize or not. So purely element of luck, no element of hard work is called casual income. Whereas regular income, there is no element of luck, but purely element of hard work is called the regular income. Difference between a regular and casual income. Now go forward. What is the revenue expenses, capital expenses? Revenue expenses which are routine, regular, or recurring. Examples: you have to pay salaries, you have to pay rent for a building, is called revenue expenses. What is casual, irregular, non-recurring, non-routine? Like purchase of machine, furniture is called the capital expenses. Okay. For example, rent, pay, telephone charges is called revenue expenses, and that revenue expenses will be, you will get the benefit only for a year, less than a year. But capital expenditure, you will get benefit more than a year. Payment for know-how, payment for technology, payment for patent, payment for copyright, that is called capital expenses. Similarly, if expenditure incurred on asset to maintain the present efficiency, revenue expenses. Example, you are making repairs to machinery. So you have to maintain the present efficiency of the property. So that's called revenue expenses. Suppose if the expenditure incurred to improve the earning capacity, Suppose converting your manual machine into power machine, that is called capital expenses. Suppose, in other words, suppose you are having a vehicle two-wheeler that runs only on petrol, but you have to convert into electric bike. You can convert electric bike. The expenses to convert your petrol bike to electric bike or two-in-one bike, that is called capital expenses. And revenue expenses, it is shown in income statement, but its capital expenses, it's shown in balance sheet. As you know, you are learning every time. Okay. Now go for the continuation. Examples of what is revenue expenses, what is capital expenses. Salaries paid to staff is revenue expenses. Capital expenses, purchase an asset like plant building is the capital expenses. Expenses incurred to preserve the product assets, revenue expenses. Expenses incurred in purchasing any capital asset is called capital expenses. Purchase of raw materials, revenue expenses. Expenses incurred R&D is called capital expenses. Now, COVID-19, you want to find the medicine vaccination, and the companies are making most heavy investment in R&D so that the virus will be cured. That means if you take the vaccination, if you develop the vaccination, you will have antibodies in your body. So the amount spent on R&D for inventing a new medicine on COVID-19 virus, that expenses is called capital expenses. Expenses to oppose nationalization of business by the government comes under revenue expenses. And if you acquire copyrights or any other rights comes under the capital expenses. Expenses incurred in renewing the licenses permits is called revenue expenses. Payment made for acquiring the sole selling agency rights is called the capital expenses. Suppose you want to buying a agency rights. That payment made for agency rights is called the capital expenses. Then we'll discuss about revenue loss and capital loss. So loss of sale of trading assets or goods is called revenue loss, which is a recurring one. Loss on sale of non-trading assets like fixed assets is called capital loss. Okay. Now, cash embezzlement in the business. Embezzlement means stealing or theft. Somebody stole your cash. Somebody, it may be employee, it may be outsider. It's called revenue loss. Capital loss, cash withdrawn from bank without knowledge of the assessee by an employee. Suppose your employee withdraws cash from the bank without your knowledge. That is called capital loss. Now, if the stock is destroyed or damaged due to fire or white ants or enemy action during the war, is called revenue loss. Okay. But if goods in transit damaged, if goods in transit, you're transporting in goods, on the way it has been damaged due to accident, that loss is called the capital loss. Okay. Similarly, loss of secure deposit given while placing goods is a revenue loss, whereas loss of secure deposit to get an agency is a capital loss. Okay, there are different examples of revenue loss and capital loss. Now, is very important part depreciation. You know what is depreciation? In income from business or profession, in Income Tax Act 1961, they have defined depreciation, and the defined depreciation can be charged on tangible assets and intangible assets. Or tangible assets, building, machinery, plant and furniture. What intangible? Patents, copyright, trademark, acquired on or after 1498, not before 14. Depreciation can be charged on those intangible assets purchased after this date. Before that, no depreciation, zero depreciation. So depreciation is allowed for a block of assets on the written down value. We'll discuss what is written down value. What is block of assets? Discussing. What is block of assets? It means block of assets means a group of assets of same nature in respect to the same rate of depreciation. Depreciation rate is same in that block, but there may be some different types of assets, different groups of assets for different purposes. That's called block of assets. Okay, so I'll show you the Word document. What are the different rates of depreciation? I show you not Word document. So this is a Word document. Depreciation on different types of block of assets. Now we have block number 1. What is the nature of assets? If buildings used for only residential purpose. What is the rate of depreciation? 5%. The block number 1. Okay. This is block number 1. If the building is used only for residential purpose, 5% rate of depreciation you have to calculate it. Block number 2, buildings used for non-residential purpose like office, factory, showroom and go down, 10% is the rate of depreciation. Block number 2. Please remember this point. Block number 2, buildings used for office, factory, showroom and go down, 10%. Then block number 3, building used for hotels, 10%. Only for hotels, not for residential purpose, not for factory, only for hotels. Block number 4, building used for temporary structures, 40% depreciation rate. Okay. If you're using a building for business purpose and that building is used for temporary structures, 40% depreciation rate. Block number 5, building acquired on or after 1/9/2002 for installing plant and machine for a business unit engaged in providing infrastructure facilities, 40%. What is the purpose of building purchased after this date? If it is used for installing plant and machine for a business unit, that too, that business is providing infrastructural facilities, 40%. Block number 6, furniture and fittings for all type of business, 10%. Block number 6. It may be any type of business, 10%. Block number 7, plant and machinery. This block includes motor car, buses, lorries used in the business for running them on hire, 30%. If you have a motor car for business use or buses or lorries and using it in the business for running them on hire, you are giving those transport buses or motor cars on rental basis, giving to others on rental basis, depreciation 30%. Suppose if the same motor car buses lorries used, the same motor car buses lorries are used in the business for running them hire acquired during the period. It has given the dates now. Suppose this is the dates given 23/8/2019 to 31st March 2020. If acquired during the period and you have to using them before that date, 31st March 2020, 45% depreciation rate. Okay, so see the date difference here. The previous one, there is no date. Suppose specifically if you buy using your machines like buses or motor car or lorries, but if you purchase during this period and using them during this period, 45%. No date is mentioned, straight away you have to calculate depreciation as 30%. If dates are mentioned in the problem, these dates are mentioned, then you have to calculate 44%. Now block number 8, plant and machine. This block includes only motor cars used in general business. Motor cars, buses, lorries used in the business for running them on hire acquired during this period at this. And this block only motor cars used in general business, 15%. Okay, 15%. Only motor cars used in general business, 15%. Suppose if you buy these cars or buses, lorries during this period, 30%. During this period, 30%. So we can segregate this. This is segregate this. So motor cars, lorries, buses used in the business for running them on hire acquired during this period, 30%. Or else now that is mentioned 15%. Then block number 9, plant and machinery. This block includes plant and machinery used to manufacture the goods for running the business, 15% depreciation rate. Block number 9. Block number 10, plant and machinery, aeroplanes, aero engines, life-saving medical equipment, 40%. 40%. Then block number 11, plant and machinery. This block includes containers made of glass or plastic user refills, 40%. Again, block number 12, this block includes computers, including computer software, 40% rate of depreciation. Block number 13, plant and machinery. This block includes equipment used for energy-saving devices. We have to calculate 40% depreciation rate. Block number 13. In block number 14, plant and machinery, air and water pollution control equipment. On that equipment, you have to charge 40%. You have to calculate 40% depreciation. Block number 15, intangible assets purchased after this date, 1/4/1998, 1st April 1998, except goodwill. No depreciation on goodwill. You have to calculate 25%. Block number 16, on books, if the SSC is engaged in the business of lending libraries, 40%. Your business is using as a library, you're giving books on rental basis to your other people. Now, block number 17, if the books are used in business who's having income from profession, annual publication books, Finance Act, annual budget, other than annual publications, textbook, different books, 40%. Suppose if your profession, any profession, doctor, suppose doctor is there, he has to buy so many books, he has to make, you have to pay for annual publications, you have to subtract the books, you have to suppose finance people, chart accountant, he has to buy the annual budget, that heavy book, you have to read the Finance Act, you have to subscribe for the textbooks or reference books. So those, on those books, 40%. So we can say on books we can say by default 40%. On books, any purpose, on books say 40% by default. Now, there are some conditions of depreciation. I'll stop here, continue tomorrow. All these are I'm posting in the Moodle. Don't worry about that. All these are material I'm posting in the Moodle. Check the Moodle. Meanwhile, I given the deadline for assignment submission. So tomorrow we'll continue.